In this video we are going to study a program called MovingBallsWithPointerCanvas.html. Or actually this is not a program, but it is an HTML page that contains a lot of JavaScript code. And this is an example in which we do some object-oriented programming with the JavaScript, and there is a separate class called ball that is located in a file named ball.js. And this example also shows how we process the mouse events. My name is Kari Laitinen, and let's go to find the page then. So you first have to go to naturalprogramming.com, and through this web icon you find this page, and here is a link, canvas-based pages, and there you will find this list, and there is the file MovingBallsWithPointerCanvas.html. So if you are going to download this locally to your own use, then you have to download this file, the HTML file, and additionally you have to download this ball.js, and you have to put these files into the same folder so that this HTML file can use this JS file. So you can download them with the right mouse button. Another possibility to download these files is that you use this GUI icon here, and you will find a list of JavaScript canvas examples there. So I have already downloaded the file, and I have opened it locally here. So the page looks like this when you open it. So there are 3 balls there, and as the name of the file says, you can move the balls with the mouse like this. You can see that when you are moving a ball, the edge of the ball is then somewhat thicker than normally. Well, this is just again an example, and well, this is not a very clever program, but I hope this is a good example to study the basics of object-oriented programming with JavaScript. So I have already the files open here. So this is the HTML file, and we can first study this, and then we can take a look at this other file. So there are again the usual things at the beginning of the HTML file, and then at the end of the file there is this short body of the HTML, and there you will find that when this page is loaded, it calls this method draw on canvas, and then we have inside the div element we have this canvas element that has a certain ID, and it has a certain width and height, and here we have the operations when the mouse is the mouse button is pressed down, and the mouse is moved, and the mouse button is released, then these methods will be called, and automatically there will be an event object as a parameter for these methods. There are some style definitions there that with these definitions we can put the canvas into the horizontally into the middle of the page. So let's then start studying this JavaScript of this page. And here is the one important thing, that we have this short script here. We first import with this statement, we import this JavaScript code in this file into this program. And well, and it means that really this ball.js has to be in the same folder together with this HTML file. And then we have the local JavaScript here, and we first specify some ball objects here. So the ball, this file contains now a ball class named ball, and with from this class we can then create ball objects. And here we create 3 ball objects with a new operator, and for each ball object we specify its center point and its color. So this means the center coordinate X and center coordinate Y, and this is the color. And I have actually made here, I again printed this page on paper, so you can see that when this program starts running, the balls are located like this, and the width of the canvas area is 800 pixels and the height of the canvas area is 600 pixels. And when we specify that this red ball has its initial x coordinate is 200 and its initial y coordinate is 300, then it is located like this. So with these coordinates we specify the center points of these balls. And all 3 balls, they have the y coordinate is the same. And this is then the 0 point of the canvas. And x goes this direction and y goes downwards. So we have 3 variables and we have 3 ball objects. And then we have an additional variable ball being moved, and that is null at the beginning. So it doesn't refer to any object at the beginning. And here we have 2 other global variables, previous pointer position x and previous pointer position y, and we mark them as 0 at the beginning. So the purpose of this is just that we need them when we are going to move one of the balls. Well, then there are these on mouse down method or function, then there is on mouse move function, and then on mouse up function. And the last function is then this draw on canvas. So this function draw on canvas, it is always called, so it's called automatically at the beginning when the page is loaded, and it's always called after each of the mouse operations. And as usual, we first take a reference to the canvas element with its ID, and then we get the drawing context for the canvas, and then we do the drawing operations. And the drawing operations, they are quite simple. So first we set the fill style to light yellow. So the background is light yellow. Unfortunately, in this paper version, it's too yellow, the background, because I don't know how to adjust that camera. But it's light yellow is the background, and then we fill the entire canvas with that color. And then we draw the balls. So we just, the ball class contains or has a method named draw, and for this method we give the context, the drawing context as a parameter, and then the draw method draws the ball. So the object-oriented thinking goes here that so that we think that all these ball objects are such that they know their location on the screen, they know their color, they know their size, and they can then draw themselves. So the main program doesn't have to worry about the details of the ball. So all information for each ball is then contained inside the object. And here we just say that ask the balls to draw themselves. So let's then take a look at these other methods. So on mouse down. So this is the method that will be called when the mouse button is pressed down. And well, it can be also some other pointing device than mouse. Well, in this case it is a mouse, and then we just record the point where the mouse was pressed down, and we get this event object, and from this event object we get these properties offset x and offset y. We get the point where the mouse was pressed down, or the mouse button was pressed down. And then we just start asking each button, each ball, that if this point, the x coordinate and the y coordinate of the pointer position, if that point is contained in the ball area. So the ball class has now this method named contains point, and this method returns values true or false, and it returns the value true if the point given point is in the air contained in the area of the ball. So if I click here, the point is not inside the red ball, but if I click here, then the point is then located in the ball area. And we do the same operation for each of the balls, and then if this method returns true, we make this additional, so there is this additional variable or ball pointer here. So we make this variable to refer to this ball, if this is true. And then we also activate the ball, which means that it is drawn in so that it has this thick edge. Well, if this is not true, then we check the other ball, if this point was in that area, and if that's true, then we do the same thing. We make this refer to the ball, second ball. And the third case, that we try the third ball, and we make, if this is true, then we make this refer to this ball. And here we record the first pointer position into these global variables. And again, so this is important that we always call this method draw on canvas, so it will be the balls will be redrawn on the canvas. So then there is this movement method, which is called when the mouse is moved, and it receives against this event object as a parameter. And we first test that if this ball being moved, if it is something else than null, it means that the moving operation is going on. And again we read these x and y coordinate of the new position where the pointer was moved, and then we make this calculation that how much the pointer was moved or the mouse was moved. So because we know this previous pointer position, so we can subtract that from the current pointer position, and then we get the pointer movement, and we get it in both X and Y directions. So here we calculate how much the pointer was moved, and then we call this method move this ball. And this method moves the ball as much as the movement of as much as this movement that had happened. I think these are normally quite small values. And here we also, because now we have used the previous pointer position, so here we put the new pointer position as previous pointer position. So we can do this calculation again the next time when this method is called. And usually this method is called very often, or this function. And in the end we again update the canvas. And then there is this last method on mouse up, and this is the situation when the mouse button is released. And again we test if ball is being moved, if movement operation is going on. And we deactivate the ball and we make this variable null again, so it doesn't point to any ball object anymore. Again we update the canvas. So this is basically the operation here. Let's take a look at this ball class then. So it is in this separate file, and so in the newest version of JavaScript, it's possible to define classes in the same way as in other programming languages, so that you use the keyword class and you give the name to the class. And constructors for these JavaScript classes are defined with a reserved word constructor, and the parameters are specified like this. And then the data fields or attributes, they are created then with the help of this word this. So here for each ball object we create these 5 data fields or data members or attributes. So we store the given ball coordinates, the ball color, and the diameter is set to 128, and this variable is marked as false. So this here we create the data fields or the internal data of the object. And then there are these methods. So there is a method for activating the ball and deactivating the ball, and this means just that we set this variable either to true or false. So not all of these methods are used in our example, but there are methods to read the ball center point, X and Y, method to read the ball color, to set the ball color, and note also that always you have to use this word this here when you refer to the internal data items of the object. And it's also important to know that when these methods are specified, you don't need any keyword here, so you just write the name of the method and you don't write like function or anything like that. So there are methods to move right, move left, move up, move down, and then there is this method move this ball. So this was used in our example, so that it gets two parameters, movement in direction x and movement in direction y. And then we use this plus operator to modify the center point of the ball. So there's this other method, move to position, which is then with this you could move the ball to a certain fixed position. And then there is this method contains point, and that was also used in our example. So that with this you can test that if certain point is contained in the ball area. And as the comment says here, the Pythagorean theorem can be used to calculate the distance between a certain point and the ball center. So it is so that if for instance, if we think that we click this point, then we can calculate it, because here is the ball center, so we can calculate this distance so that we calculate because this is now the y, and this is now the x, and this is now the distance. So according to this famous Pythagorean formula, I think it is so d to the power of 2 is equals to x to the power of 2 plus y to the power of 2. And when you take the square root of these, you can find what is this distance, and if this distance is bigger than the radius, then the point is not in the ball area, but if this distance is smaller than the ball radius, then this point is in the ball area. So we are using the power of 2 method, and we use the square root method here, and in the end we just return this value that if distance from given point to ball center is less than ball radius, then the point is contained in the ball area. Yes, and then there is this drawing method. So the ball object knows how to draw itself. And in these kinds of, because this is now a general purpose class, it can be used also in other programs. So here it is important that we always save the drawing context before doing anything, before changing colors or anything. We save it and we restore the original context at the end. And then we use the fill style, the ball color, and then we specify this ball as a path, as an arc there, and then we use the fill operation to, so this fills the ball with that color, and then there is this separate operation stroke. So that draws the black edge of the ball. And if the ball is activated, then the line width will be 6. Otherwise it is just 1, I think. And the default color for this stroke is black. So you can see that when the ball is activated or when I'm moving the ball, the edge is then thick. So there's actually one problem in this program. For instance, was if I put the balls like this and then I click here, I will take the red ball. And the reason for this is that because we always check the red ball first here. The red ball is first thing to be checked here, and if that happens to be in the, or if the clicked point happens to be in the area of red ball, that is the ball that is going to be moved. But if you do the exercises related to this example, then you can correct this problem. So this is the ball class, and we define classes with the keyword class, and we use the constructor word to specify constructors. So we could still make one experiment here. So because object-oriented programming is, the reason that we use object-oriented programming is that it makes programs more logical and easier to modify and easier to maintain. So let's make one experiment. Let's add one more ball there. Fourth ball. I will put it in so that it is located below the green ball. So the x-coordinate is the same as with the green ball, and the y-coordinate is bigger, so it will be below the green ball, and well, let's use the color, well, yellow, like this. I can actually try to draw the ball. I will save it, and I will reload the page, and you will see that with only 2 lines of code I could add this new ball to the page. But there is still the problem that I can move the other balls, but I can't move this ball because I still have to do something to make this yellow ball move. And I could actually move, because the original position is like this, so I could move the green ball a little bit upwards, so the starting situation would be nicer. So I will modify it like this. I move the green ball. Let's put it 200, the y-coordinate. Now it's a little bit more symmetrical, this initial positioning of the balls. But now if I want to make also this yellow ball movable, I have to do something here. I have to modify this on mouse down method. So I have to also add this checking for the fourth ball, that if the given point is contained in its area. So I will copy these statements here and I will paste them, and I will just modify here one word, fourth ball, and then I have to modify here also. But this should be enough, I think, because now then this starts referring to the fourth ball, and it's always this variable that is referring to the ball being moved, so I don't have to make any modifications to the other mouse related functions. So I will save it and reload it. I can move the red ball, I can move the green ball, I can move the blue ball, and now I can also move the yellow ball. Yes, I think I have now explained this page. So what we did here is that we studied object-oriented programming with JavaScript. We had a own class named ball in a file named ball.js, and we used functions to process the mouse events. So thank you for your attention.